All right, so look, people assume when they hear me talk about the collapse of America with so much enthusiasm and excitement that somehow I am naive. Like I don't understand what comes with that. Like I haven't thought about what happens when the grocery stores run out of food, when the banks close their doors, when the mail stops coming, when the world that people built their whole sense of safety on stops working. But I do understand. I've thought about it deeply. I know how it's going to look when the illusion finally breaks. Some people will panic. Some people will fight. Some people will freeze. Because most of them have never lived without the system holding their hand. And people always say, you ain't never been without the system. You don't know what it's like without America. You say you want revolution, but you don't know what it's like, okay? You don't know what it's like. But the people who say that are so immersed in this matrix that they do not even realize that they are a captive too. If they did, they'll be just as desperate as the rest of us to escape. Because when you're a captive, your first concern isn't comfort. It's freedom. You don't care what the unknown looks like. All you know is that you can't keep living in this cage. You'd rather face the unknown than die in a world that is already soulless. And that's what people don't seem to get. We're not running towards destruction. We're running towards liberation. And if the only way that we can get there is through collapse, then so be it. But my excitement, that's not ignorance. That's awareness. That's clarity. That's me understanding exactly what this system is, how it operates, and how much destruction it has caused to every living thing on this planet. The system isn't just broken, it's parasitic. It's been feeding on the earth. It's been feeding on the minds of the people. It's been feeding on the energy of entire civilizations. It's anti-nature, anti-truth, anti-life. It made greed a virtue and called it success. It made disconnection feel like freedom. It turned people into workers, into consumers, into dependents instead of creators. So when I say I'm excited about the collapse, it's not because I'm ignorant to what's coming next. It's because I understand what's ending. What's ending is the American experiment, the toxic mix of capitalism and white supremacy that has sucked the life out of the earth and has poisoned humanity. This thing has been a virus on planet Earth since day one. It destroys everything that it touches. It feeds off suffering and calls it growth. It built wealth from genocide, from slavery, from war, and called it civilization. It disconnected people from spirit, from nature, from themselves. It made humans believe they were machines, made to produce, consume, repeat, then die. It made the world sick, mentally, physically, spiritually. And that is what's ending. The idea that domination equals progress. The idea that money is more important than life. The idea that some people were born to rule and others were born to serve. All of that is over. That mindset already collapsed. That illusion is what's dying now. And as it dies, the planet itself is starting to breathe again. You can feel it in the storms, in the chaos, in the millions of people waking up and finally saying, enough! This isn't just an ending. This is the earth cleansing itself after a long infection. And as a neurodivergent black man living in America, I have my own reasons to be excited about this collapse. Because for me, this isn't just another chapter in history. This is karmic balance. One of the biggest lies that this country ever told was about us. About who we are and where we came from. They made it seem like all of us came here on ships, that we were all outsiders to this land. But the truth is, many of us were already here before Columbus showed up. We were the original peoples of this land, the first caretakers, the First Nations before they rebranded the word native. And this is not to discredit or take away from those who are recognized as Native Americans. Our stories run alongside theirs, not against them. It's just that somewhere along the line, they made an agreement with the same system that conquered us both. They accepted reservations, citizenship, and limited sovereignty in exchange for living within America's rules. We, on the other hand, didn't take that deal. We refused to bow to the system. And for that, our lineage was erased from the record. Our sovereignty was stripped away. Our tribes were renamed. Our true identity was buried beneath paperwork and policy. Then they forced us to build an empire that erased us from its story. So when I see this system collapsing, I just don't see an economy falling. I see lies unraveling. I see the ancestors of this land and of Africa standing together in the spirit realm screaming, finally! You see, when you watch this country, this government, this system of white supremacy do what it's done for so long, seeing it collapse doesn't scare you. It feels right. It feels like the energy finally catching up. This nation was built off of our blood, our labor, our genius, and now it's collapsing under the weight of its own deceit. And when I see that, I can feel my ancestors rejoice. It's like all their pain, all their struggle, all their endurance finally has meaning. They're watching the fall of the very thing that tried to erase them. And that's why I don't fear this transition. Because collapse isn't destruction, it's revelation. It's the truth finally coming to the surface after centuries of suppression. It's the end of the illusion. You can already see it. The fake food, the poisoned water, the endless distractions, the burnout, the loneliness. These are not signs of a healthy society. These are the signs of a dying one. Every closed store, every economic glitch, every mental breakdown, that's the matrix cracking in front of us. You see, but I don't think what's coming is the chaos that everyone imagines. Sure, there'll be some lone wolves out there, people who lose their mind and turn violent. That's inevitable when systems fall apart. But most people, they're tired. They've been betrayed, manipulated, and exploited by the system for so long, they just don't have the energy to keep playing this game. And even though we all come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different stories, we all share one truth in common. We've all been victims of this machine. We've all been lied to, unnecessarily taxed, overworked, underpaid. We've all watched the cost of living rise while the value of life fell. We've all felt that quiet desperation of trading our time for money, just trying to survive. We've all been numbed by endless screens, poisoned by fake food, and drained by a culture that profits off our pain. We've all been made to believe that we are separate, competing against each other instead of realizing that we're supposed to be building with one another. That's the red pill moment, realizing that the they we talk about isn't just some mysteries in the shadow. They are the billionaires, the politicians, the corporations who built this matrix that profit off of our division. And we are all we got. And deep down, I think people are starting to feel that. They're tired of the separation. They're ready to build something together. They're ready to build community. They are ready for the collective. They want something real, because once the belief is gone, the spell is broken. And when the spell breaks, people remember who they are. They remember that real power doesn't come from money or governments. It comes from within, from creativity, from unity, from divine intelligence. People have been conditioned to believe that collapse means apocalypse, that when the system fails, it's every man for himself. But that's not what's coming. What's coming is remembrance. Because when this structure disappears, people can rediscover community. They remember connection. They remember that survival and compassion have always gone hand in hand. Even now, the entire world runs on interdependence. We just forgot. Nobody grows their own food. Nobody builds their own shelter. Nobody thrives alone. They divided us with race, with gender, with politics, with class. Anything to keep us from remembering that we are one living organism. And when this illusion collapses, the truth will rise. And yes, it's going to hurt. That's part of the cleansing. When the fever breaks, the body shakes. It sweats. It purges. And that's what the earth is doing right now. Releasing centuries of greed, violence, and deception. And me, I'm not afraid of it. Because I've already gone through it within myself. I've already watched my own illusions collapse. I've already let go of everything this system told me mattered. The fake sense of stability, the fake validation, the fake future. And when all that went away, all I found was truth. I found my soul. I found the divine blueprint inside of me that doesn't need permission from something outside of me to exist. And that same blueprint exists in everyone. Some people just need the collapse to remind them. What's coming isn't the end. It's the reset. It's the reorganization. It's the death of false order so that order can return. Not capitalism or socialism, but consciousness. Not control, but cooperation. And when that happens, this old America is going to be repurposed. The land won't disappear, the illusion will. All the concrete, all the empty buildings, the abandoned suburbs, they'll be turned into something new. People will start using what's already here. You'll see communities taking shape in the ruins. Old malls turn into co-ops and learning spaces. Parking lots repurposed into gardens and farms. Highways quieted down and lined with food forest. You'll see people trading skills, not chasing titles. Electricians, builders, healers, teachers, all working together because survival will demand it. And after the initial chaos, life will settle down into something much simpler, slower, but richer. You'll see kids running through the neighborhood again instead of being raised by screens. You'll see elders teaching and not being forgotten in their homes. You'll see music and storytelling return to the center of life. And this time, not as entertainment, but as medicine. We will rebuild, but not like before. We won't measure life by money or success by status. We'll measure it by peace, by purpose, by how much we can contribute to the collective. People will still have challenges. There'll still be disagreements, still lessons to learn, but we'll handle them differently. Without the illusion of separation, there's no one left to blame. We'll recognize that it is the same divine current that is running through us all. And as we rebuild, we will start to realize something. This whole time, the world didn't need to end. It just needed to evolve. The American empire had to fall so that humanity can grow up. And we'll look around one day and realize that we made it through. That even without the system, life continued. And not just continued, but become more real than it's ever been. So no, I'm not naive. I know what it's going to take to get there. But I also know what comes after. And that's why I can smile when I talk about the collapse. Because what's falling apart is the lie. And what's being born is the truth. And when the people realize that we had all the power all along, then everything changes. So let it fall. Let it crumble. Let every false idol and institution built on lies crumble under its own weight. Because from those ashes, something sacred will rise. A world that doesn't just survive, but remembers.